excellent to each other and party on. We're back for another Legacy League with Blue-Black Nethergoyf. That's right. We're going to be jamming threats and disrupting opponents with Daze, Stifle. We have lots of powerful threats. Psychic Frog, Tamiyo, who flips from Inquisitive Student to Seasoned Scholar and can close games all by herself, and also can return our removal to our hand if we need it to. We have a couple Brazen Borrowers. We have a single Orcish Bowmaster's main deck just because I wanted to make sure we had enough threats. And then we have 3 more Bowmasters in the sideboard for when we face control decks or for when we're up against like weenie decks like Death and Taxes, Goblins, things like that. Also in the sideboard, we have Counterbalance. Should be exciting if we ever get to use it. Consign to Memory, which is strong against Eldrazi. Hydroblast, which is just a general all-around good card that I think every blue deck should have a couple of them in the sideboard. Red is very strong right now. A couple more Forces in case we're in a combo matchup like Karn Forge. Harbinger of the Sea, which is very strong against 5-color control decks and very strong against 12-post and Eldrazi decks. We got a couple Nile Spell Bombs. These feed the Nethergoyf, and they also potentially draw. I don't want to play dedicated Graveyard Hate like Surgical Extraction right now, or another card that's generally pretty good but is not as important right now is Grafdigger's Cage. And then we've got Engineered Explosives. This is probably mainly if we expect our opponent's going to board in cards like Carpet of Flowers. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure which matchups to bring this in, but a lot of people are playing Engineered Explosives right now in this type of build, and we'll see if the opportunity arises. So that is the deck. The mana base is very simple. It's a bunch of Underground Seas, a bunch of fetches, a bunch of Wastelands, all 4 of them, and I threw in a Lorien Revealed just as a 19th mana source, just because I really don't like mulliganing, and this also feeds the Goyf and makes it bigger, and it can pitch to force. And who knows? Maybe we'll even cast it late game. But I essentially treat it like an enter the battlefield tap land that you have to have a land before you can play it. So usually like Wasteland into Lorien Revealed is a pretty common opening. So we'll see what happens. But this is Blue-Black Nethergoyf. We're going to do a full league, 5 rounds. It should be a lot of fun. This is not my comfort zone. My comfort zone is, hanging back and trying to control the opponent. But here we are trying to just race them essentially and disrupt them while we're racing them. See you in the leagues. All right, round 1 against Shootech, which is a player who mainly plays Rescam, which is now illegal. So hopefully we won't have to worry about that. They are a fan of the channel, and they were watching one of my Bug Tamiyo videos this morning. All right, I'm going to keep this very good general purpose hand. It has a Stifle opener, which I like. I'm going to check the top of my opponent's deck with this Bauble. Maybe give them some Delver vibes here. But, let's see. I think I just lead with Polluted Delta. And I'm going to go ahead and play out the Bauble. And I'm going to check my opponent's deck. We do need to find a threat. That is something we can play next turn. We can't protect her yet. But I think we... oh, wait. That's on my opponent's deck. Yeah, that's helpful. If they go for that, we are going to Stifle. And this deck, because it's so tempo heavy, we don't actually play away. Oh, wow. Brainstorm is great. Yeah, we can put some of these lands back because we don't need them. All right. Let's see if my opponent cracks their Polluted Delta here. They're thinking about it. All right, they're passing. I'm just going to draw here. I would love to rip a Tamiyo here. Another land. I think I'm just going to play this out and I'll pass. It could be that they're waiting because they suspect that I have a Stifle because I'm not doing anything. All right. I am going to wait and just see what I draw. I can put back more cards this way. I want to get a second fetch into play. They could have potentially have Stifles of their own here. Let's see what we find. Okay, Psychic Frog is really good. We'll play that out next turn. I think we're going to put these 2 cards back. I don't think we really need them. And I think I'm just going to hold up mana and be ready to fetch and to pay for Daze if they try to Daze my Stifle. So if they fetch, I'll probably fetch both of my lands in response. So first, oh no, yeah, I'm going to get this. Now I'm going to go get this. I'm going to get an island here. You may be wondering why I do this, but I just want to make sure there's no window in which they can Daze me. And I'm going to go ahead and use the blue for this. Okay, that worked. So that was an elaborate footsie. We'll see whether it pays off. They may fetch basics now. Okay, they put a wastable land into play. I am going to waste that just because it represents mana and we want to squeeze them as much as possible. So I think the play here is probably just to play Psychic Frog. We can't really protect it. Let's see what they do here. I'm going to do this just in case they do have double Daze. And now I'm just going to go ahead and hit this now. All right. So I think it's highly likely that they have some sort of push or something for Psychic Frog. But it's a risk I'm willing to take. All right. They are going to successfully fetch here. We only play 2 Stifles in our deck. A lot of decks are playing 3. But I think even 2 is more than enough. Let's see if they push here. Okay, I think I'm going to try to find a Daze. I've got 4 Dazes and I've got a Force. Okay, we got lucky. We did find a Daze here. So I think these Brazen Borrowers are excessive. I don't need all of these. And now I'm going to attempt to Daze this. They can Daze back. And if they do, that's the way the cookie crumbles. But we will have set them back some tempo. Okay. So next turn, we're going to definitely attempt to resolve our second Psychic Frog. Being on the play is very powerful. And we were on the play this game in what looks to be like a tempo mirror. Okay, so it looks like they may be playing Bug. Okay, that's fine. So we knew that they had that in their hand from the first turn because we saw that off a bubble. All right, so I don't think there's any point in playing at this delta. I can conceal information here. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just attack with the frog. They're probably not going to block. Actually, I should attack with the frog, and if I draw a wasteland, I'm going to use it. Okay, they're not blocking. All right, a borrower will be good if they flip her. I think I'm just going to go ahead and play the second Psychic Frog here. It's important to note that if they do flip her next turn, there's not a lot I can do about it. Do I want to ponder for a Daze? I kind of do. I think Daze would be strong here because there's a decent chance they're not going to have another land. I think all these cards are pretty good except for the Flooded Strand. So I think what I'll do is I'll take the Bowmasters now and I'll draw the Tamiyo here. They haven't cast a lot of cantrips because we've been restricting their mana, so Bowmaster might do some work here. This is my only main deck Bowmaster, by the way. If they're cracking clues, it could do some work. Cards that worry me the most, I guess probably just... Yeah, that's a good card. I'm not as worried about that since we had the Bowmaster here, though. I think they're going to probably attack. They're not going to attack. Okay, interesting. Well, I will happily trade with Tamiyo here. I think we're just going to attack with both of these. And if we have to put some power on one of them, it's not the end of the world. Okay, we're getting both of the cards. That's great. 1, 2. Okay, I should have shuffled because I knew I didn't want that fetch. So that was bad. I think what I do here is... So my options are hold up Tamiyo. Or I think what I'll do is I'll play a land. Then I'm going to play Tamiyo. Then I will hold up both Brainstorm and Bowmasters here. Now, I think it's very likely that they have a Force. So if they attack Tamiyo, I will attempt to Brainstorm. And then if they try to Force to trigger Beanstalk, I can Bowmaster. But that does walk into Daze. Yeah, I'm never really sure what to do against Beanstalk. It's a very flexible deck, especially once they get the Beanstalk down. It's like they shouldn't be favored right now. I feel like I'm favored, but it's hard to tell. If they flip Tamiyo, it's not a big deal. I can just bounce her back to the hand. And that might be the play this turn, because then maybe that draws the force, and then maybe we're clear if we're getting Bowmasters out there. Their own Psychic Frog is fine. All right, are they going to attack with Tamiyo? They are. I think that's fine. I'm trying to decide what I do here. I could just bounce the Clue for like as a tempo play. It's not the worst. I could bounce Frog. I think bouncing Frog is probably more impactful. Just slowing them down. If they force here, I'll be pretty happy. Okay, they're forcing. That's good, because yes, they are going up the Beanstalk, and no, I can't punish with Orcish Bowmasters, but that's a force they're not going to have for my Bowmasters, which is much more important to resolve. I'm going to untap, draw. Got our own force. I do think I'm going to be able to make use of all this mana. I'm going to go ahead and attack with everything. I can Brainstorm to flip Tamiyo if I need to. If they put cards into Psychic Frog, I can Brazen Borrower. Are they going to block? This matchup is all about cards. That is all that matters here. Is the player who draws the most cards is probably going to win. Okay, they are blocking. Okay. Let's see if they discard some cards. 1. Okay. If I pass priority, I think they have to do it again to kill her, unless they have something I'm not aware of. Okay, wow. I'm glad to get rid of that Witherbloom. Actually, Witherbloom isn't that powerful against me, but it would have been a problem. Okay, wow. We got it out of play. That's huge. Okay. So we're going to connect. We draw 2 cards. Tamiyo flips. We can actually cast this maybe. I'm glad I played out those lands. Okay. I'm going to plus her. I have lots of options. I don't think I need to take any further game actions. I'm just going to pass. So next turn we could potentially Lorien Revealed, but that I'm not even sure if that's a good use of our mana at this point. Like if they cast something that draws cards, I will 100% slam the Orcish Bowmasters, and I will 100% defend it with Force of Will. Okay, that triggers. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and fetch here. They do play Stifle. I think I'm just going to go ahead and get both of these, just so we don't get into like a Daze into a Stifle type situation. I'm going to go blue, black. This is a big guy. It's going to be hard to beat this. I'll just go after them. Yeah, my deck is not really well disposed toward stopping Murktide. I do have flying blockers, but that's about all I can do. We're going to potentially draw a lot of cards, and then they're probably going to need to come after Tamiyo, which gives me a window. Yeah, let's see. Any further game actions? They're probably going to attack here. The path is clear. They're not even going to bother attacking. Wow. Okay, let's think about what we need to do here. I would love to draw. That's not a good draw. I mean, that's something that can go under Force of Will. So we unfortunately have used both the borrowers. We don't have any big creature removal in our entire 75. So our whole goal is to avoid getting into this situation. It's a 7/7. Okay, so here's one option. I could just Lorien Revealed, and then one of my frogs will be big enough to kill the Murktide if I'm willing to dump everything into it. That seems crazy to me. But the other option is, yeah, I'm really thinking about what to do here, and I'm worried about my clock for games 2 and 3. I think the play is we go back, we get another blue card. They have 4 cards in hand. One of those could be force. They could have 2 forces. They have 1 force in exile, 2 forces in exile. So it's unlikely that they have a force there. I wish I had another land just in case they do have Daze. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and Lorien Revealed. Again, this feels crazy, but let's see if it works. Wow. Yeah, I mean, we can technically just attack with the Psychic Frog and dump our entire hand to kill that thing. That seems crazy. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm a mad lad. I'm crazy. Because we have to get rid of this. They could just untap and play another one. We're going to have to discard so many cards here. And then if they just Fatal Push, that's the game. So what I think I have to do is I have to discard everything but a Daze. That way, if Fatal Push is the last card in their hand, I can Daze it. Well, they've got 4 cards in hand. They don't block. I'm just probably going to... Okay, yeah, I figured that would happen. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and start discarding cards. 1. This is crazy. This is probably not correct. 2. 3. This is me trying to play like a tempo player. 4. 5. 6. All right, we killed it at a very high cost. I think we go ahead and minus here and get back Force of Will so we can protect this. And then we pass. The scariest thing they can do here is play another... Well, actually, they can't play another Murktide. So I think we just defend this to the death. That's fine. All right. Let's go ahead and... I think we just attack with the big frog here. I could attack with the Orc Arming token, but I think that's a mistake. Do they have a Brainstorm? Okay. They wouldn't want to Brainstorm there anyway, most likely. All right, and I feel like we've got our shields up. I can cast this. I'm just going to pass. So we can cast this and we can crack a clue if they attack with the Psychic Frog, but I don't think they can. We just have to see what they have here. All right. Wow. I never would have guessed that would be the right play, and maybe it wasn't. All right. And now we get to see whether they have a Bowmaster. All right. I think they're conceding. Wow. That was an intense game. I never thought I would be pitching 6 cards to Frog against a BUG Beanstalk deck, but it felt right. Okay. So Bowmasters definitely comes in. Bowmasters is great in this matchup. Cards that can come out... I think this probably comes in because this can blow up either Beanstalk or Carpet of Flowers. Harbinger is pretty good here because they are on so many colored mana sources. In terms of cards, they've already seen Stifle, so they're going to fear it. We don't necessarily need it. There's not a lot to Stifle in their deck other than Wastelands, and I think we could probably cut a Daze on the draw. Or Fatal Push is kind of bad against them. Like, well, no, they're playing Frog. Yeah, I think we probably just cut the Daze. I don't want to cut any of our aggressive stuff. Borrower is quite good here. I don't think we cut now Spellbomb. I mean, yeah, actually, this is probably better than Baubles. Baubles are pretty meh. And this can like wipe our opponent's graveyard and draw us a card too. Just keeping our opponent's graveyard small is a good way to reduce the possibility of like a murderous cut. We could just take another Daze out. The forces are good though. Are the forces good? So I think on the draw we do want the forces just to be able to stop the really key spells. So yeah, we're kind of the control deck, but we're also kind of the aggro deck. But Harbinger of the Seas should be really strong here. I have no idea whether I'm sideboarding correctly, whether it's correctly to take out so many Dazes on the draw. But I do think taking the Stifles out is correct. This is a good hand. I think what we do is we open Island Tamiyo. We don't have any black. I'm going to keep this. All right, Shutek, let's see what you got. And I hope you get to tune in and watch this because that game was just incredible. Like, of course, I was on the play, so I think that's why I won. All right, Island Ponder, making me happier that I took out some of my Dazes. Because this is going to be, we're going to build up a lot of mana here, I think. Yeah. I am going to go ahead and play Tamiyo out. If it can bait some of her removal, it's not that big a deal. And the upside of having her on the table is pretty big. Okay, they're dazing here, which is fine. I am going to go ahead and cycle through this bobble. I'll just go ahead and look at their top card. And maybe I'll draw up on one of Daze. A Murktide. Okay, that's good to know about. Yeah, I mean, Murktide's already like on its way to being really big, but luckily we can spell bomb. Now we're looking for a black source. So what I'll probably do is, oh, I did draw my one of Daze. That's lucky because this is like a rare situation where I think it'd be good. We'll just hold it. All right, no plays. So what I'll do is I should be able to find a land here. I can't imagine them dazing this. My client is spinning for some reason. I really need it to move quickly because this is a pretty fierce matchup. Okay, so I like all these cards, and when did we get the land? Oh, I guess we got the land last turn. That's great. Well, I think what I'm going to do, these cards are not that important. I think getting a Nethergoyf into play is worth it. They might have a second Daze. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get a swamp here. I'm going to play out Nethergoyf. And then next turn, I just have to be sure to get my Now Spellbomb into play because they are getting close to Murktide. 4-5 already. That's great. Nethergoyf is such a good card. It's not my style of card, but I can't deny that it is a very powerful, very good card. I would love for them to Beanstalk here so I can Daze it. That's a desperation brainstorm. I'm going to say no. If I can deny them land at this point, it's totally worth it. They're dazing back. That's very desperate. Okay, well, I'm glad I dazed there. They'll get to play their land back, but they won't be able to get to play anything else. So next turn is pretty much locked. Island, Now Spellbomb, activate Now Spellbomb. It's fine. They're clearing their brainstorm. So they actually get a double spell here, whereas if I hadn't dazed, they wouldn't get a double spell. Right. I'm hoping Wasteland will pull some weight. They don't have a lot of basics in their deck. I'd be surprised if they even have a basic swamp, but some decks do play basic swamps. So I'm going to go ahead and attack first. Land, attack, then spells is the heuristic that I use here to save time. All right, I'm just going to play this out. And then I am going to nuke your board. Your graveyard, rather. All right, I'll draw a card. Another fetch. I'll play it out. Oh, I can't because I dazed. All right, let's go to the next game. 5-6. 5-6 one drop. Unfortunately, this is, nothing I can do about that. I just have to keep putting Wastelands into play and hitting them with my Nethergoyf. That's not a good draw. I'm going to go ahead and just waste them. We'll see whether we can get there. Unfortunately, Brazen Borrower is like a really bad card against Beanstalk, but if they play some sort of blocker, I will bounce it out of play. And if they daze, it's okay. Okay, they have another land that is going to get wasted here. Daze to the graveyard. That's fine. I'm not going to, there's nothing to do momentum-wise, but I could bounce this out of play. I think it's better to just chill, because if they do get like a Murktide out, I'll need to bounce it, and I'll feel like a fool. Oh, I'm really drawing a lot of bad cards here. I think what they might stifle this. Okay, they don't stifle it. I just need one more attack. I have lots of interaction if they have a blocker, but that's it. Like basically my entire game is hinging on this Nethergoyf that they probably have 4 fatal pushes in their deck to remove. Wow, we did it. Yeah, that was what tempo does. All right, let's go to game round 2. We are 1-0. We didn't lose a single game there. And again, being on the play in the tempo mirror is very powerful. All right, we're on the draw against somebody that historically always plays Reanimator. I think we should mold the force. They mold, I'm mulling. I'm going to keep this. Okay. And I think the game plan is probably put back the swamp. Yeah, we put back the swamp. Historically, the decks they played haven't been Wasteland decks. Like all these are just like standard Reanimator. Now, they could be on a different deck, but historically for like the past few months, they've been playing Reanimator. So I'll put this back because I do want to get a Bobble into my graveyard for Nethergoyf power. And I'll hope that they don't discard me. If they just go for it. Okay, wow. So they may be on a blue-black variant. I'm going to get some more information with this bauble before I decide what to do here. I mean, like, when in doubt, I could just waste them. If they are playing Reanimator, they have a low lane count. Okay, so I'm not going to want to waste them. I think what I do here is I just fetch an Underground Sea because I want to have access to all my colors here. And I'm going to Nethergoyf. And if they waste me, they waste me. I mean, they could definitely Daze here. But if they Daze, I'll probably force back just because this is my only threat. And I do want it to be in play. And then it'll be a 3-4 after the force. If they Daze this, that means they're probably not on a combo deck. They're probably on a, like a fair deck, like a tempo deck. It looks like they are thinking very hard, which makes me think, okay, Daze. We have nothing going on. They're about to have a swamp. This is crazy, but I'm a freaking tempo deck. I'm going to do this. I'm going to pitch the Borrower because Ponder can buff my Nethergoyf next turn. Them dazing this tells me like maybe they don't have removal. If they're combo deck, they can't necessarily remove this, and I might be able to tempo them out. I am going to have Wasteland for one of their lands, and if their land is the ETB tapped land, that's good for me. Okay, drew a backup Borrower. Be aggressive. AGGRESSIVE, aggressive. Great song by Faith No More. Actually, it's like based off like a cheerleader cheer. So you probably heard the cheerleader cheer before. Okay, so they cycled Troll and they got an Underground Sea. So Wasteland's not going to be super good here. That's fine. I think they're not going to be able to... I think I'm going to Ponder because I don't really want to be putting this Wasteland out there. What I'd love to do is... I don't think Fatal Push is going to play a part at all because they're probably going to reanimate big creatures. Tamiyo's okay. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw this Delta and I'm going to play it. And then in desperation, I can fetch. So we are hitting here for 4, which is not bad. We just need a creature in our graveyard and then we'll be like fully leveled up Nethergoyf. All right. So if they reanimate a Troll, that'll be great for me. I'm going to 100% like Daze Protected bounce the Troll back to hand. Okay, so I'm just going to assume that they're not playing any sort of mana disruption other than maybe a couple of Wastelands, and I'll just get the Underground Sea here. I don't want the Tamiyo. I want to go the damage route. Okay. What could they do here? I'm going to play my land, and then I'm going to attack. There are a few things they could potentially do here. That's not what I'm scared of, but I am going to brainstorm as a result because I definitely don't want to have to worry about this. If I find a Fatal Push, that'd be good. I did find a Fatal Push. I also found a Stifle. So we could Stifle the trigger and then push the Bowmasters itself. We don't have the mana to do that. I think we just put these back for now. Okay, so yeah, I'll just put those back. This comes into play and I will just... I think I'll do nothing because they're going to have to chump anyway. And I can see if I need to borrow or something as an emergency. That's fine. Yeah, I'm not sure. Like the aggressive play is to just push this and waste them. We know that one of their lands is ETB tapped. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and do that here. And then they may have to play an ETB tapped land, which means we get another attack in. If they Daze here, I'll be so happy. They may Daze to protect their Underground Sea so they can still have 2 mana play next turn. Because if they're playing out their... because they may have like Animate Dead or something. One bad thing about reanimating Animate Dead... Wow. It's aggressive. All right. I am going to go ahead and waste this. So unfortunately, those Ponders in my hand are not going to do a lot, but I'm just going to try to tempo them. I mean, I can Ponder, but it's bad because every Ponder is basically like they get a free block. I'm just going to keep my stifle up because if they do have animate dead, I can stifle it. Wow, they're blocking. Holy cow, that's good for me. Okay, now I'm going to ponder, and I'd love to find another wasteland here. Daze is not terrible. Yeah, I think I keep this. I don't really want the bauble. I'll take the Daze though. Okay, and then we have lots of options. Like we can, of course, Daze a fetch. We can Daze and animate dead. That's not my fight. I'm feeling good. I mean, this deck feels so good. It feels powerful. Like, Nethergoyf is a great card. I love the fact that if they push this, I can just bring it back. I mean, that's so cool that it has that ability, that kind of like Uro-like escape ability. This is fine. So at this point, we're not interested in squeezing their mana anymore, unless they get greedy and try to cast too many spells in one turn. All right. So I think we're drawing Ponder, which I'm going to go ahead and use. We don't have to worry about... Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and use it now. There's a wasteland. I kind of do want to waste them. I'm just going to go ahead and attack first. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll hit this just in case they're able to like daze it back to hand and get more value out of it. I mean, you could argue that I should be wasting the other one because they're so far behind. So I think it was correct to probably waste the Underground Sea there. Strix is a pain, so I'm just going to counter it. Strix is a very good card right now. I'll be impressed if they still have any counter magic left in their hand. Okay, good. We got through. We're going to hit for another 4 here. Feeling very good. Drawing Bauble. I think it makes sense to just check their hand. The next card in our deck is a fetch. When I say check their hand, I mean check their deck. Psychic Frog. Okay, well, Nethergoyf can kill Psychic Frog. We can also bounce Psychic Frog if they decide to block Nethergoyf and put any sort of investment into it. Next turn, we will have a fetch land, so we will be able to borrow around Daze. This is fine. I'm just going to attack, and I'm going to plan to borrow the Psychic Frog back to hand. Wow, that's good. I'm just going to attack here. Yeah, this deck just feels amazing. All right. I think we just wait and we keep up all the different things we can do. They could easily just like discard a Archon or Cruelty or something like that. That would be catastrophic. We need to be ready. Yeah, I don't think they're going to attack. I think that'd be crazy for them to attack, but they might try to attack. If they just cast like a Brainstorm or something, I am Bowmastering the heck out of that. They are crazy. If I bounce this though, all right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to Bowmaster here. This is going to ping them and it's going to chump. And I think they're going to lose here unless they have something they can do to stop it, like a Force of Will. And I can actually just ping and then let it through, and then they get another trigger, and then they die. That's fine. All right. And then sure, you get your draw trigger, by all means. I don't know if they have like instant speed, like Shallow Grave type stuff that they can do here. Yeah, good game. That was intense. Like, even though I felt favored pretty much the entire time with Nethergoyf on the table. All right. So, against this deck, we're definitely bringing in now Spellbomb. I feel like Orcish Bowmasters is really good if they are going to go like an Archon route. Didn't see any reason. I mean, they're definitely Reanimator, but they're not like super duper aggro. They look like more fair Reanimator. Did they put any big fatties in their graveyard other than Orcish Bowmaster? I don't think so. So I think the cards I can take out. Stifle. They didn't see Stifle, so I might be able to surprise them with it. But on the draw, I think we just take out some of our tempo cards. You could definitely argue that like Orcish Bowmasters is not as powerful here, but they have their own Bowmasters, so that makes me want to put it in. So if we take these out and we take out some number of these, we would have to cut one more. Do we want to cut all of our Dazes? I mean, they're going to play around them either way. We're going higher quality here by doing this. I can't take out force against a combo deck though, especially not on the draw. So I think this is what we do. Yeah, because we will be drawing more cards than them most likely. We have Tamiyo, we have Psychic Frog. All right, this is a manaless hand. I'm gonna mulligan this. This hand is pretty terrible, but it does have Nile Spellbomb turn 1. And let's see. The odds of us drawing a land are not great. Like, I think we could likely die before we get to a land. So we're going to get one draw. We're going to get a second draw. And we can play out a Spellbomb. I don't think Spellbomb is powerful enough. I think they're slow. Like, if they were like a turn 1 reanimate, and I just as soon have a force. This has a force. This has land. This is the keep right here. So what I'm thinking is, we didn't see any Wastelands out of them, I don't think. But they probably are playing Wasteland. But if they're a Reanimator deck, they may not play Wasteland. They mulled the 5-2. So I don't think they're going to keep a Wasteland. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put back the Underground Sea. I'm going to put back the island. I'm going to try to ride the Nethergoyf train again. Wow, this feels crazy doing this. But like Bobble is a redraw and it also buffs the Nethergoyf. I am crazy. And these are going on the bottom of my deck. So like the odds of me drawing another land are very low. So if you think that was crazy, leave a comment and tell me how crazy that play was. And then celebrate the fact that it like totally blew up in my face. Okay. If it blows up in my face, it may not. All right. So here, I'm going to go ahead and check their top card. And it's good to do this now before Bowmasters gets on the scene. Okay. A Ponder. Right, and I'm just going to go ahead and attempt another Nethergoyf here. Wow, it resolved. That's great. I think I do defend it to the death. I think Nethergoyf has proven itself to be so strong here that it's totally worth, like, yeah, they got an island. Interesting. They're definitely worried about my Wastelands. Okay, so they're probably going to get a basic swamp here. Yep. So tempo is not going to do it here. We're going to need to play card quality, which luckily we boarded out our Dazes. We can't board out our Wastelands just because it's too important to what we're trying to do. This is okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ponder and I'm going to try to find I'm going to try to find another land, and then 2 turns from now, I'm going to try to borrow it. I think that's better than trying to force here into potential days. All right, we got a second land. So one option is just to borrow it back to hand right now, and then not risk taking 5 off of it. But then if they do have days, we'll need to... so here's what I think I'm going to do. I think I'm going to play out the Wasteland just to make sure my Ponder doesn't get dazed, because they might just go all in on this, protect the queen mode. So I'm going to go ahead and play this out. I'm going to Ponder. I'm going to try to find land and blue card so that I can brazen and have force up. This is land a blue card. This is quite good. Now Spellbomb doesn't matter. I'll put that back. I actually think we play the land out next turn. Yeah, because we already played the Wasteland. So I'm just going to keep it like this. Now we can force pitch force. And we can borrow with force protection and daze protection next turn, unless they waste us. If they attack, I'm going to attack them the heck back. I'm feeling pretty good. Hopefully this is all they have and they don't have just like a ton of stuff they're going to dump on me. Okay. Next turn, Nethergoyf is going to get bigger. Psychic Frog with 3 lands in hand. And they are going to get a card off of... We'll get a land. Borrower doesn't go to the graveyard. So they're going to have a lot... So let's think about this. Like, if they were to go all in on Psychic Frog, would they do such a thing? Okay, so I need to think. So this goes to hand. They have 4 cards in hand. This is going to become a 3/4. So I attack, and they could potentially kill it. I think I'm just going to force this. I don't have a guaranteed way to get rid of it. All right. Now this is going to be a 4/5, and like we're practically racing them. I'm going to go ahead and get the land. Let's get another Underground Sea. If I play Bowmasters, we basically are racing them, but we're not really because they're 1 turn ahead. I think I do want to bounce during their turn. Okay, Enemy Dead dies. This is great. Like, I'm going to definitely cast that next turn. Well, I'll probably cast Bowmasters next turn. These are really interesting games. Like Nethergoyf plus Psychic Frog. They make for interesting interactive Magic. They may have a Brazen Borrower of their own here. They may have a Bowmasters. I would love for them to cast the first Bowmasters here. Yeah, I don't need to worry about double days. I'm just going to attack. I don't think it's possible for them to kill my Nethergoyf. They may Bowmasters and chump. Fatal Push is fine. It's dead. Now I'm going to play out a land. I do have exactly enough types to bring it back, but I don't think that's the play. I'm just going to pass, and in step, I will put out my fairy if they don't have a Bowmasters. Okay, this is almost certainly going to be a basic or a non-basic. So I can decide. I think I just keep this as Daze Insurance until I draw another land, though. All right, I am going to move here. If they have the first Bowmasters, that's a bummer. Like if they have a Bowmasters to Bowmaster me back. But if they do that, then my Nethergoyf will be bigger when I bring it back. And I'd rather them. I mean, at least I'm like building this army up, and I'm giving them a better. Like if they were to just snipe this, I'd feel really sad. All right, let's hit them with that. The fact that you can bring Nethergoyf back is just such a huge plus for the deck. I can see why they made it a mythic, because they knew it's going to sell like hotcakes, because everybody's going to want the incredible card. Okay, Reanimate on Frog. That works. It's scary. Okay. So every time Frog connects, they do get a card, but Bowmasters does do more damage. I don't think Tamiyo's the play here. If I bring back Nethergoyf, actually, yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I am going to play out Tamiyo here, and then I can start attacking and creating clues, because I've got lots of land. I'm going to just let this Frog through. I don't know. I think I could cast this just in case they have but they may have a Daze. But this is like basically free to do this turn. It goes in the graveyard, and it's food for Nethergoyf when I bring that back. Entomb is scary. If they have like a Archon, the game's basically over. Atraxa is very scary here. I think we lost. I'm going to go ahead and do this now, because I'm not going to be able to do it later, because they may rip a Daze. I'll just cast this now. Okay. I'm going to F6 through the turn. There's nothing I can do here. Let's take a look at their cards. Okay, so they have Flooded Strand, Entomb, World Gorger Dragon. That's scary. Infinite combo with Animate Dead. And they took Fatal Push, Douthie Voidwalker, Flooded Strand, Reanimate. Okay, that is their hand. We are not going to block here. They're pitching cards. Interesting. Yeah, I'm not going to block. I'll just get the ping here. So basically, it's like Brazen Borrower or Bust. Like that's the only thing I have in my deck at this point that can get rid of that. Or I have Engineered Explosives, but they have another Reanimate. So I really do need to bounce it to hand. So if we attack him with Tamiyo, we may be able to find the Brazen Borrower. They don't have a Daze that I know of. I'm going to be aggressive here. Okay, it's going to create a clue. I'm going to go ahead and crack that clue. Yeah, I'm just going to concede. There's no point in playing it out, because they're going to gain a ton of life, and they've got a lot of pressure on the table. I just want to make sure we have lots of time for game 3. 11 minutes should be enough for my tempo deck to close, but don't ever underestimate my slowness as a player. Okay, so here I think we definitely bring the Dazes back in. Counterbalance actually might be good here, because if you think about like their deck, Reanimate's a 1-drop. Yeah, I genuinely don't know. They are playing the combo though. They're like basically rescam without the scam. Let's say hypothetically we take out. What would we take out? Nethergoyf is a card that we could take out just because it doesn't pitch to force and it doesn't really help disrupt what they're trying to do. I don't think we're going to be able to, like, I think what we're going to have to do is, I'm actually tempted to take out Nethergoyf. And if I'm taking out Nethergoyf, then it makes sense to take out Bobble too. The other alternative is just take out all the removal, like these Fatal Pushes, which seems totally crazy. But we could just try to counter stuff. Because I'm not scared of their fair plan with their Bowmasters necessarily. What I'm scared of is them comboing us. This is the highest pressure. Okay, if we drop Orcish Bowmasters, Bowmasters does hit Bowmasters, but they may not have Bowmasters in, and if they don't have Bowmasters in, it's not that great. If we take these out, then we've got like really hardcore aggression. All right, so we're experimenting. This is an experiment to see whether we can get away with taking out some of our removal, taking out all our Bowmasters, and just like riding Nethergoyf. I think they do have Fatal Push in their deck, but considering that Nethergoyf is practically as big as Troll when it resolves, we haven't seen any Wastelands from them, which makes me think we can take out Lorien Revealed. Then we can bring Fatal Push back in, and we can just keep clearing blockers. I kind of like that. Yeah, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to hope that Stifle, Wasteland, Daze get us there. It took forever to submit. I hope it actually successfully submitted. Okay, it says submission received. This hand is aggressive, but it doesn't actually have a win con. What we could do is we can throw Tamiyo out there, and we can bobble a couple times and immediately flip her. I actually don't think that's terrible because they may not have answers for Tamiyo in their deck. All right, I'm going to go ahead and play Tamiyo out. They're probably not going to daze her. They're definitely not going to daze her. I'm going to play this. And I'm going to pass. And I will go ahead and during their upkeep. Oh, I missed their upkeep. That was bad. Okay, I'm going to look here before they ponder, and then I'll look again after their ponder has resolved. Okay, they got a ponder on top. This is going to be really interesting because they have lots of creatures that can potentially pressure Tamiyo. They also have Bowmasters. I feel totally out of my depth, and I'm not sure if I'm playing well. But my instinct is, okay, a flip Tamiyo ticking up is kind of a time bomb that they have to address. Let's go ahead and take another look here. Now that we saw their ponder on top, now we see an Atraxa. That's a great card for them to draw because to my knowledge, they don't have Show and Tell in their deck. So unfortunately, we're not going to get a Tamiyo. We're not going to get a clue this way, but we are going to flip her. And we got those out of our hand around. Oh, this is a great draw. Okay, cool. We got those out of our hand. Oh, wow, that's even better. Holy cow. All right, so I think the conservative thing to do here is play Nethergoyf this turn and then play Psychic Frog next turn. That way we can continue to play around their dazes. Yeah, I'll just play this out. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the Nethergoyf off this. That way, even if they waste, I will have a land up. Actually, yeah, it doesn't matter. If they waste, then I won't be able to daze. Okay, and next turn, and assuming they don't have any sort of damage-based interaction to kill Nethergoyf, that would suck if they did. Wow. Okay, this is what we call getting very lucky. Not like this, Neo. Wow, and then we just drew the perfect freaking thing to add on top. They discarded Atraxa manually, which is very good for us because we're about to put Nal's Bubble out. And I think what we do is, yeah, I want the power from this. I'm going to go ahead and fetch now. I mean, as crazy as it sounds, this Nile Spellbomb is much more important to resolving than the Psychic Frog. So I'm going to go ahead and play that first. And then if they daze, they're going to be so far behind. Okay, they're forcing this. So that means that they probably have some sort of animation effect in hand, I would imagine. I'm going to go ahead and play this first because if they counter it, then I get a bonus on my Nethergoyf. Okay, I'm just going to go to Nethergoyf town. Unfortunately, if we daze a reanimation spell, they can daze back. I don't know if we can win through a Resolved Atraxa here. I assume if they had a land, they would have played it last turn, though. Unless they're like, and then the Not Like This Neo makes me think that, okay, so they do have the land. If they have Reanimate, that's good for them. If they have Animate Dead, I am going to daze. So Reanimate, nothing I can do about that, unfortunately. Let me just think about this. Yeah, I don't believe there's anything I can do here. Psychic Frog can jump in front of Atraxa and take the hit. But that's like all we can do. Yeah, being able to force my Now Spellbone was really key there. Okay, so they're getting an entire new hand, basically. So they're Not Like This Neo was a ploy. They actually had everything figured out. They see double Daze. Okay, Daze is really good here if they needed to deploy something because I don't have anything going on. They have a Wasteland, so they are playing Wastelands. They choose Wasteland, Daze, Psychic Frog, Reanimate, another Reanimate, great. And Baleful Strix. Let me go ahead and clear the cards that are not in their hand right now. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're going to lose this one. Psychic Frog. Okay, they kept Wasteland, Daze, Baleful Strix. Oh, they can keep Baleful Strix because it's an artifact. I was like, how do they keep 2 creatures? And they have yet another Reanimate. So even if I counter their stuff, they're going to be able to redeploy it. So yeah, like I think literally my only way to victory here is Tamiyo ultimating. And we're going to need to... They don't actually have a removal spell for Psychic Frog that I can see. If they discard like some fatty, like an Archon or Cruelty, that'll just be like the worst. So really our best option here is to draw probably a Brazen Borrower, as usual. Brazen Borrower continuing to be a ridiculously powerful card in this matchup. A second Psychic Frog is not terrible. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to +2 here. Play this out. I think I play out the second Psychic Frog. And then we have the ability to jump, and then the following turn we can attack for lethal. We can't attack for lethal because Atraxa has freaking Death Touch among her many other abilities. Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking when they printed Atraxa, but you could say the same thing for like Gristlebrand and stuff like that. It's just like there's so many ways to cheat these incredibly powerful creatures into play in Legacy. And their deck is running at least 8 probably, maybe 6. I'm going to assume they're going to waste. Oh, wow. Does that end the game immediately? They get infinite mana. Unfortunately, I think that does end the game immediately because they can get infinite mana. Oh, they can blink their Atraxa. Good games. That is the end of the game. We're not going to watch this. It's just too painful for me to watch. But basically, they can just blink the Animate Dead. They can blink the Atraxa and just go infinite. Yeah, that sucks. I feel like we were doing really well, but it's Reanimator. I know you're probably like in the comments. Tell me what I did wrong. I would love to know what I did wrong, and maybe like I should have mulliganed more aggressively. Maybe I should have put in the Force of Negations. I don't think that's generally the correct approach. All right, Shiro Muni so we're heading into round 3. We're 1-1. Yeah, I mean that like they play the cool combo deck, and that's what the combo deck does. This is a really bad matchup if this is what they're playing. So this is basically Death and Taxes, but they've been playing like different Death and Taxes decks a lot. All right, so let's jump back over here. If they're on Death and Taxes, I think we need to probably open Swamp. That doesn't feel right, but I think that's correct because they're very likely... Oh, I'm going to keep this. There's no doubt about this. This is good. Good luck. Have fun. Shiro Muni, which means, white San Francisco train. I don't know if you've ever ridden the Muni before in San Francisco. And Shiro means white in Japanese. Okay. So definitely Death and Taxes vibes. Horrible matchup for us. I think we go Swamp and Nethergoyf. And it's the world's wimpiest Nethergoyf. But it is on the table and it is potentially doing stuff. They didn't have a turn 1 mom, which I would have pushed. We're not going to be wasting them at all, I don't think. Okay. So options. We could force this. Our Nethergoyf grows, and we actually they actually don't play that much removal. This might be correct. I think we probably pitch Brainstorm because none of the cards in our hand are going to be dead, and Borrower is really good against like cards like Calder Complete. Now, if they untap and play a Stoneforge Mystic, that'll be tough. But like my only hope is continuing to attack them and get some damage in. I think we go ahead and play this out first. Then we attack, and we have the ability. I'm not sure what they could have here. They might Solitude or something. They could have the doggy. All right, and then we go to instep, and then I am going to waste the Crocus instep. And they may flash in the freaking dog, but if they do, I'll push it. Yep, there's the dog. Hi Felia, bye Felia. Okay, and we are going to continue to do damage, just very slowly. The fact that we had any target for our Wasteland is a gift. There's like zero possibility that this actually pressures them sufficiently. Okay, they have a second Caracas. They could have a second dog too. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to wait till the upkeep to push. Ooh, that's actually pretty good. So I'm going to attack first. Okay, so just thinking out loud. If we play... Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to waste here, and then if they have another Felia, then I'm going to push instead of playing Nethergoyf. Okay, they don't have another Felia, so I'm going to play a second Nethergoyf. All right. We're on board with our one drops. I mean, it's not impossible to mana screw them. It's just extremely unlikely because their deck has probably like 34 lands. Okay, and they're playing Witch Blessed Meadow. They're not shocking it in, which is good. They may not have any more plays. Fetch would be great. Oh, all right, fetch. That's what we wanted. Okay, so the reason fetch is great is because we can attack and we have the ability to borrow, or we have push for like a larger creature. But I'm definitely going to get an island if I get anything, because I suspect that they may have... they have a three mana now. White Orchid Phantom. Cannot target non-basic lands. It's fine. They may target their own land. I think I just let this happen and I saved the life. I mean, I want to get an island. I was going to get an island anyway. It comes into play tapped. I think hitting the White Orchid Phantom is actually correct here because... No, we kind of got them in the abyss. I want to save Fatal Push. I'm not worried about this creature right now. They don't know that I'm about to waste them, and I think I'm going to use that to my advantage. Nethergoyf has just been so solid. Like, I mean, obviously if this was like a Delver or something, it'd be just as solid. But, yeah, it's good. I like it. I'm not concerned about White Orchid Phantom damage here. I think it's correct to just leave up my push. And in fact, I should have waited to their upkeep, wasted, and then I would have had push on. Ghost Quarter is pretty unfun here. Oh, they're casting something. Extraction Specialist. So they can get a creature back. I can't stop that, unfortunately. Yeah, this is a really good card. That creature can't attack or block for as long as you control Extraction Specialist. Okay, so here's what I think I'm going to do. I think they're going to get back Felia. I have to push Felia. Felia's just too powerful. Let's see if they attack. They should attack. Okay. Now what I could do... I think I have to hit Felia and then... Bouncing Extraction Specialist back to hand is not good. Okay. I'm just going to wait and see what they do after combat. We really need to get a sorcery here. Like a Ponder would be absolutely clutch. I do need to make use of my mana here, though. Felia just totally takes over the game. You may have watched my Espervile deck where I have 4 Felias. I love her. I think she's a great creature. think I'm going to play this out before combat, and then I can discard my borrower if they block. I think I go ahead and discard my borrower anyway, because they're going to... Yeah, I want to deal extra damage here. So we're getting them down to 2. They're going to nuke our lands, so we're not going to be able to cast anything anyway. They're hellbent. They have lifelink, but we are going to crack back and kill them if they attack. So I think they just have to chill. Okay, they're not chilling. They're being proactive. We'll see what they drew here. Cards they could draw. I don't think they have another... Oh, we just won. Wow. We beat Death and Taxes. That is so improbable. I'm feeling great. Like, I did not expect that to work. And I don't think we're going to win games 2 and games 3 because their deck is like just so anti-tempo. Like there's nothing to stifle really. I mean, technically there's stuff like if they're not playing fetches, I'm not playing stifle. I'm sorry, but like it's not a good enough card without the fetches. Counterbalance is bad. Engineered explosives is good. It's only kind of good though. It's not great. I think we trim some dazes. They're really bad here. Yeah, I think that's what how I'm gonna run it. I would trim borrower as well. Borrower's pretty bad, but oh, you know what's really terrible is Tamiyo because their deck is filled with yeah, I think I'm gonna trim some Tamiyos. Because like nothing is worse than your opponent naturally drawing Caracases and being able to stop you. And I think we just have to, on the draw, keeping Daze in feels so bad. Is there anything better we could be doing here? Leave a comment if you think that like there's something that we could be doing that's better. Harbinger of the Sea feels super duper weak. They do play a lot of non-basics, but it's just they've got lots of ways of dealing with it. I mean, I hate to say this, but I think they're going to assume we have the Dazes out because what sane person would have the Dazes in here? Yeah. I don't know. This is going to be very touch and go. I think our game plan hinges on basically a replay of what happened last game where we're able to connect with Nethergoyf a whole lot and just gradually chip away at their life total before they can get there. Because the longer the game goes, they're favored. Like, to some extent, Death and Taxes is like the apex predator of like long games because like they have the inevitability. I think we keep this. We don't go down cards. Okay. Put it in tapped. They are playing more non-basics than they used to, which is kind of good for us. So unfortunately, I'm going to go ahead and play this out and just see what our top card is. And if it's a land, it's a land. I think we play this out and then we're going to draw the Wasteland and then we can Lorien Revealed. But my first order of business is just getting mana underneath us because they attack our mana base like crazy. You've seen the creatures. They're on the play, so they are more vulnerable to wasting than we are. This might be a mom. Okay, this is a 2-drop. All right, what I'm going to do here, I do want to make good use of my mana. I'm going to float. I'm going to Daze here. This has to be Daze. This card like absolutely owns us. And then I'll just go ahead and cycle. I might as well get that out of my hand. I'm going to need the land. I'm going to just go all Underground Sea. Here's why. I know they're going to be wasting us, but I want to make sure I have a few basics in my deck for when they start ghost quartering us and stuff. All right, so options. 1, play a Tamiyo. Option 2, Wasteland them. Hope that we've cheesed them. I kind of like that. The fact that they played that out tapped as their first land tells me a lot. All right. Yeah, we'll see what happens here. If they just have another land, that was really bad. They didn't have another land. I'm a genius. All right. Oh my goodness. I did not expect that. Okay. So options here. We ponder to find another land. They might waste us. And then because I like getting Tamiyo out when we have, oh, this is so good. So good. All right. I want all these. But what I want to do is eventually get like Tamiyo out with Brainstorm. So when they go to like Caracas or something, we can get her out of harm's way. Yeah, and I'll just pass, and we'll see if they waste us here. Okay, they did find a land. Interesting, they're not wasting us, which tells me they have Felia. Felia is a really powerful card. The fact that they don't have any more white sources does make me want to go ahead and waste them here. But then they're going to play out Felia, which is going to be really catastrophic here. Okay, so option. First, I ponder, and then I might find a Daze. How many Dazes do I have in? Let's take a look. I think I have all 4 Dazes in. I might find a Force. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I didn't find a Daze or a Force, but these cards are all really good. But unfortunately, none of these are going to be able to take care of Felia. So we have tons of good cards already. These are not lands, which lands are, I mean, it feels insane to put this back. Absolutely insane. I'm going to put it back. I want to find a Force for Felia. Fatal Push will do. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to waste them now. See if they do anything. Go to end step. There's definitely a Felia in there. I'm going to set this stop in their upkeep. They don't play a Felia now. I'm going to waste them in their upkeep. Whoa, they didn't have a Felia? Okay. Okay, so I just assumed because it's like a 4 of that they had it. They're being very disciplined about not wasting me. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. They should definitely waste me here. I think that it's just too dangerous not to waste me here. So I'm going to play this out. And I'll pass. And then I'm going to start taking this up. But I'm not going to use it until end step because I want optionality, fatal push. Wow. I can't believe they don't have a land. That's crazy to me. Okay, I'm just going to I'll get the clue. Every card matters in these matchups. Let's not get hasty. Flipping Tamiyo now doesn't do anything. Solitude. All right, Solitude on the stack. Okay. Well, I have bad news for you, friend. There is no creature to target here. Which creature? All I have is this big planeswalker. Whoa, they're solituding again. This is so much value. I mean, I still get to draw the cards. That's fine. All right, you got my creature. I will gain 0 life, but I do get to brainstorm here. It's unfortunate that they were able to solitude over the top there. At this point, I mean, it may sound crazy, but I kind of want to put back a land. So I'll redraw the borrower, and then I'll probably shuffle away the land. That was absolute carnage. All right, and now I'm just going to play out the Psychic Frog, and we're going to try to win that way. We have Fatal Push up. Bowmasters is very good against their deck if they're still playing Thalia, which I presume they're playing Thalia. Okay, they found the Flagstones, which is really good because I'm never gonna waste them again. It's just a question of, oh, wow, they had another one. Yeah, there's nothing I can do about this. They went down to 2 cards to remove that frog. They just took 3. They have hemorrhage value this game. Okay. I'm just going to try to beat them down with orcs, I think. I'm not going to wait for them to put targets in front of me. Oh, I should have fetched. Okay, well, actually, this is fine. I'll just play out the land. Yeah, I'm just going to pass. I have lots of action. Okay, opponent is playing Stoneforge Mystic. I'm just going to daze it. Actually, you know what? They are... I have so much value here that I'm just going to daze it like this. And then I'm just going to boom, Bowmaster. And I'm just going to start hitting them with these Bowmasters really hard. And I might even just play out the borrower. And then we'll pass into end step. I'll get my other Underground Sea here. I'm keeping all the basics in my deck in case they have the Knight of the White Orchid. And I'm going to Bowmaster them again. All right, and now I'm going to hit them for 4. They have 2 cards in hand. I have a lot of stuff covered here. Let's see what I draw. That is an incredible draw. Let's hit them. Post-combat. Blue, black. They just got incredibly unlucky with lands, or their mana base is incredibly greedy. One of the two. But I am happy to profit. Okay, Ghost Quarter. All right. They could definitely have Felia here. I'm going to keep push up the entire time I'm attacking in. Another push. These pushes are incredibly powerful against their deck. I'm not going to pitch any cards. I'm just going to draw. Take 5. I get a card. Another Delta. I think it makes more sense to hold this for Frog, because I have a potentially lethal attack next turn. They're ghost quartering their own land. That is okay. You can do that. So I get 2 lands here. One of which enters play tapped. Shadowy Backstreet. I mean, those Solitude. Wow, they put a Stoneforge in their graveyard. They're absolutely desperate. I'm not even sure what they're looking for here. White Orchid Phantom. That is okay. You gonna hit me? That's fine. I'll float black. Yes, I will go get a island, I guess. I'll get a swamp just because I've got lots of black spells in my hand. Okay, and then I'm just going to push it. I think they'll probably concede upon this. Okay. And then end step, I'm going to flash in the Borrower for lethal. Unless they have something else that they can do for like 0 mana. All right. Yep, we did it. We out-muscled. This is a nightmare matchup. This is not like necessarily the worst matchup, but it might be the worst matchup. I mean, Swords to Plowshares, tons of basic lands. Wow. Yeah, I feel really good. I'm going to take a quick break, and then we will jump to round 4. And that break will be instantaneous to you. Through the magic of editing, we are going to time travel to round 4. All right, we are up against License to Pill. License to Kill, of course, being a great James Bond movie. License to Ill being a great Beastie Boys album. So I have to ask this person whether they are a physician or a pharmacist, because, I mean, with a name like that, that's just kind of like what you would expect, right? We have a great hand against... Wait a second. Is this a great hand, though? Has lots of lands. If they are on a tempo deck, we don't actually have anything proactive we're doing. We can push one of their threats. We could bounce one of their threats. We've got lands. Really, the only thing we got going on is this basic and these wastelands, which can disrupt them early on. They mulligan. I'm going to keep. Every card matters in these matchups. Good luck. Have fun. You a pharmacist or physician? We'll see. I'm in suspense now. Also, I've already squandered like the first minute just talking about this person's username instead of playing the game. So, yeah, if I go to time, it's my own damn fault. All right, they're keeping. Bottom of the card. Okay, this is probably Grixis Delver. They're going to see what... Well, we need to note whatever the top card of our deck is, because that's the card that they've seen. Open Island. Okay, they may be on what we're on. They get their card. Nethergoyf. I love it. I guess the question is, do we want to play our Nethergoyf into a possible Daze when we don't have anything else going on? I think the answer is no. I'm just going to chill. Get some more stuff in the yard. Now we have, if we need to force something, we have Daze protection. All right. They've seen our Nethergoyf, so they know what's coming. This is fine. So since they're the aggressor here, they're on the play, I think it does make sense to... I mean, they could just be Grixis Delver running a basic. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this out, and then I'm going to play this out so I can at least get on board. And then we should get some information if they flip, and we'll take one hit. And then after we've taken a hit, we can push it. Information is useful in this game, though, for sure. I mean, they got the Nethergoyf information, so they knew kind of ahead. It telegraphed that we were going to be doing that. Brainstorm here is fine if they want to aggressively flip their Delver. The fact that we played out this Wasteland basically tells them that they should be stocking up on lands, because their deck doesn't play a lot of basics. I'd be surprised if they have another basic in their deck. But they are going to be able to flip their Delver here. And they revealed a Daze. Okay, that's good to know about. Definitely makes me glad to like take it slow. DRC. I mean, they could have more than one Daze. So I think what the play is here is, I do think it's a force just because this card unlocks so much of their deck and they're down several cards. So I think I'm going to push, or I'm going to force pitching Brainstorm. And that might seem like a weird play, but we've got to keep that out of play. And I need this borrower around for when they inevitably stick a Murktide later. The other thing to note is if they actually are playing Grix, like 3 colors, we can potentially waste them off of both of their Volks. So there's no reason not to untap, but I'm thinking that we probably do waste their Volk here. I think I could even potentially bait them wasting us. I don't know if they would have a waste. Okay, so I'm trying to think out loud and not just sound like a crazy person rambling. Okay, so I think we push and then we waste. But we should play out a land before we do so. Actually, I think I'm going to go ahead and play this out just in case they want to daze me. I'm going to push this. This puts a card in our yard. I'm going to go ahead and waste here just because I want to have the card in my graveyard so I get like a little more power and toughness with Nethergoyf. They're fetching. Okay, that's fine. Are they going to like brainstorm and daze it? They're going to stifle that. Well, knowing that I can completely waste them off, I am going to do this. And I think that what that's going to do, maybe this is crazy, but if they daze here, oh, they can daze it back. That was a bad play. They can daze it back now. Okay, yeah, that was a terrible play. Yeah, I'm sorry. That was so bad. Like, so they now have a Volk, and I kind of need this Wasteland on my side of the table to help me pay for dazes. Yeah, that was such a bad play. Their hand is currently land 1 unknown, and if they just untap and slam the Murktide, that's going to be very bad for me. I don't think it's smart to waste it all anymore. I'll save my waste for like a black source probably, because I know they have 2 red sources. That was so bad. I'm so dumb. All right. Yep, they're going to be able to do this. And they can even Murktide immediately if they want to. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking there with that, because you never want to, whenever you have a waste on this deck, you never want to put a spell on this deck, because then they can, potentially. Oh wow! So we don't know what they had, but they may be somewhat flooded now. So I'm definitely not wasting now. But we haven't seen any. They actually fetched a red source there. I'm gonna play this out because I will want the ability to get a land eventually. If they have a bolt, there's nothing I can do here. They can kill my creature. I can bring it back eventually, but it's like very tiny. Yeah, we didn't want to draw land there. I feel so bad because not only is Brazen Borrower, removal essentially for Murktide, which is the scariest card they have in this matchup, but it's also sorry, I'm struggling to gather my thoughts after that huge punt. It's also like a pressure. I mean, imagine how great it would be to like play out a Underground Sea and then like be, hitting them with for 5 instead. And I do want them to waste here. They may not though. Okay, I'm going to attempt to fetch, and if they stifle, I will rejoice. I will rejoice. Okay, they're not doing that. I'll just get the island. I might as well get it now, just in case they have runner wastelands. I feel very lucky that they haven't found that our physician/pharmacist friend, who knows, hasn't found the card they need. But at the same time, we're not drawing good cards here. And in fact, Stifle is like extremely bad against their deck. I guess I could play this out. It doesn't hurt. I'm almost definitely going to brainstorm some of this stuff back. But I do want them to proactively Yeah, this is fine, unfortunately. If they find Murktide, the game is basically just over, though. Unless we can find our second Brazen Borrower. I can't believe I threw it away. I feel so bad. I feel so dumb. All right. Yeah. I don't usually punt in such an obvious way. I punt in less obvious ways that like I have to like watch the video and reflect and people call it out in the comments, but that was like so obviously a punt. And here is the Murktide, and we are dead in 2 swings. There's always like Ponder into Brazen Borrower. They have 1 card in hand. Have they dazed me? They probably put it back. Okay, so there's nothing to do here. I'm not going to attack in. I'm just going to wait, and we'll see next turn whether I'm dead. If they have a second Murktide, we can just die now. Actually, they don't have enough stuff in their graveyard to kill us now. Yeah, I genuinely think that had I not punted, I probably could have won this game with the way the cards came up. Tamiyo's fine. Yep. All right. We threw that one away. I mean, we got totally flooded anyway. It's not like we drew well. We never found sorcery for our Nethergoyf. Yeah, kind of an embarrassing showing though. But we're coming back. Cards that are good here. Hydroblast, definitely. Counterbalance is quite good. Bowmasters can hit a lot of their stuff. I think it's worth bringing in. So I think we become, I mean, we're on the play here, actually. Maybe we don't board in the Bowmasters. We can take the Forces out. I think that's the card we take out. Force is terrible in this matchup. Like, basically the only thing you ever want to force is a Murktide. Actually, I think, considering that we're taking those out, we maybe do want to bring these in. The other card that we could bring in is we could bring in Nile Spellbombs in place of some of these baubles. The Spellbomb's a lot better because you can, like, wiping their graveyard periodically does help. I want to bring a couple of these in. I wish I could fit more. I don't think we cut the Lorien Revealed. Yeah, I don't see any cuts. I think we do bully them tempo-wise. I think that's correct. Bowmasters is just a little bit of additional damage. You could argue that Engineered Explosives is good here, but it's probably going to 1-for-1. I mean, they do actually have Delver proper in their deck. You could argue taking out a couple Psychic Frogs in favor of Delver is good, just because we're going... I know that might sound totally crazy. Psychic Frogs in favor of Bowmasters, but like nothing feels worse than playing this out and just having them blast it. And with Tamiyo, if they blast it, it's not that big of a deal because it's a 1-for-1, but this is like a 2-for-1, or like 2 mana for 1 mana. So I do like to go down on Psychic Frogs a little in this matchup. Maybe that's crazy. Comment if you think this is crazy. Bowmasters, though, is an unblastable target that gets value on the way in. And yeah, I feel like Bowmasters is a better card in this matchup. The only thing that I think is better about Psychic Frog is that it can potentially jump up there and block some of their incoming creatures. This is not an aggressive hand by any means, but I don't think we mulligan it just because it's got lots of land. I think actually we ponder here and we actively bait them to waste us. That's what I think. And my understanding of this matchup is... Wait, did my Bluetooth stuff disconnect? Okay, 1 second. I have to fix this. All right, I'm back. We just randomly lost like 2 minutes due to my Bluetooth weirdly going out. But I was able to fix it on the fly. We're down 5 minutes. See what happens here. They're keeping. We passed through our first main phase, which was scary. I did not mean to do that, but I'm not going to pass my second one. All right. I mean, Tamiyo, I don't think this is good enough. It's just more of the same. I'm going to shuffle this. That is even worse. Okay. Hopefully they come lay it on thick with a tempo plan and we can dig out of it. But I'm not feeling favored based on this draw. All right. First threat. I'm not going to counter it. I probably could have countered it there. Maybe I should have. All right. They're looking at our top card. They're going to draw a card. It's not generally correct to wasteland somebody when they already have a threat on the table. Let's see what we draw, though. Okay, Fatal Push does solve that. So I think what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to play this out, and then I'm going to push now. Okay, and then I think I play with the Spell Bomb. They might daze this. Okay, they didn't. All right. So being able to address, like, that Fatal Push was a really important rip there. We really needed that. I'm saving my fetches for a Brainstorm. Okay, this is good if they Wasteland us. Hopefully they Wasteland us. All right, that's fine with me. All right, and they have a Delver. Don't think it's correct to do anything here, because, like, if we find Orcish Bowmasters, which we have 4 in our deck, that doesn't do it. I mean, wasting Delver feels bad. We don't have anything better to do. I'm going to do it. All right. They don't yet have Delirium, but they're probably going to be hitting us for 3 here. Daze is very much a live card. They didn't flip. Okay, so we have another chance to potentially find Brazen Borrower. They may Ponder or Brainstorm here to set up Delver. One thing to note is that, unfortunately... Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and float this. I am going to daze this, because this represents, like, a lot of potential interaction here. They can't daze back. Okay, and now I'm just going to exile their graveyard, and I'll draw a card with this mana. All right, another Fatal Push. That's a good rip. Okay, let's see what we get. More of these. I think I play this out because they know about it. And I don't think I push yet, because if I push, they could have a daze. I've never given them a chance to daze anything. I think I play this out, and then if they do spend a turn wasting me, I'm not that sad about it. Maybe I should have played the fetch instead. Okay, it still doesn't flip. That's great for us. We can still find a Bowmasters. Okay, this is likely going to flip next turn then. I am glad I got that Tamiyo, because she would be uptaking right now and we would have no recourse. I'm just trying to play fast and recoup clock just in case it does come down to clock, which is totally possible. I still can't. I'm still, like, trying not to be tilted about that huge punt last game with the Wasteland and the Force Will. But this is why I'm getting lots of practice in the league, so I go to a big tournament and I can, just, as the Japanese say, omoikiri, cut the thought and just not think about, the past and just focus on the moment. Okay, second. Wow. Okay, yeah. Probably going to need to push one of these, but I'm not going to do it into days. I'm still just going to be disciplined. I'll take my damage here. All right. Bobble. So they are quickly refilling their graveyard. Please don't be a land. Oh my goodness. What the heck? How can we get so many damn lands? All right. Well, I think what I do here is I'm going to play this out, and they could double daze me. I'm going to wait till their upkeep until after we've seen what they flip. They're probably going to do the trick, I would imagine, to see their top card. But it's been a while since I've seen... So they must be just straight blue-red. Yeah, I'm going to set this during their upkeep before they get to draw the card. They didn't use the bobble trick. Neither of these could flip. Okay. So they reveal Lightning Bolt. All right. Yeah, I'll just let it flip, and I'm going to push it now. And then I'll just take 3. Instead of 6. Okay. Yeah, that was an unnecessary risk. They could have got an extra look there. Wow, another Delver. Okay, we're getting Delvered. Unfortunately, we don't actually have very many flyers in our deck. But if we rip an Orcish Bowmasters, that'll be quite good. Our opponent doesn't seem to have red mana. They get to draw a card. Orcish Bowmasters, please. My goodness. Deck, come on. Like, we're playing 18 lands. Yeah, this is, like, unlikely to happen. If we had a Surveil land, which a lot of tempo decks... I've discussed this in the past, but I don't think it's correct to have Surveil lands in a lot of your tempo decks. Are we going to take 6 here? Okay, good. We're going to take 4. There's the red source. Sadly, I might have to, blast a bolt here to stay alive. I could fetch the Thin. I have so many fetch lands. I think that's actually correct. It feels bad, but we're in a tempo mirror. I definitely want to have lots of lands. Okay. Please don't be a land. All right. Just a card that doesn't do anything. Okay. I think we lost. I'm going to keep playing. Well, we're not drawing to like a Murktide or anything like that. I'm sorry. Like, I don't know that I screwed up this particular game. I think I played everything fine. I think it was correct to go ahead and get their graveyard when we could. Yeah, I'm not sure what to even stifle here. Like, our tempo plan is dead. We're just trying to survive here. I'll probably, yeah, I'm just going to blast that because that is even scarier than the lightning bolt that we already know what they have in their hand. If they attempt to fetch here, I'll assume they're getting a red blast. Okay. Cards that matter. Psychic Frog could dump our useless hand. Yeah, we're dead. I'm sorry. I mean, like we have another turn technically, but like we're not going anywhere. Yeah, that was a beating. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Let's go to round 5 and see if we can salvage the 3-2. So I think I've gotten 3-2 for like the past 6 or 7 leagues that I played. I got a 4-1 with the Esper Temp deck, which was really fun, by the way. But yeah, the thing to remember about MTGO, if you're not used to playing on MTGO, is the players are really good and they rarely punt like I just did. It's not like going to like a local F&M and playing. You know, everybody like, and also like, I think something about having like the UI the way it is, where you can see exactly how many cards at a glance, and you have like, it even watches your triggers and everything. You just don't get like the lucky, like, oh, you missed that beneficial trigger. That's too bad. Like that doesn't happen very often on MTGO. There's no chalice check. There's nothing like that. So it is a lot harder to win on MTGO just because of the level of the competition. And also, if you think about it, like this is how to think about everything competitively. When you're talking like locally, you may have a few local heroes that are pretty good at the game, but here you're playing against like some of the best people in the world. Like if we look at this this list of like people that like I've played against all these people. Actually, Ironclaw, I'm surprised they're the current trophy leader because I've beaten them several times. But if they're grinding, and some of it's like just winning the matchup lottery and like not getting terrible matchups in your 5 consecutive matches. But yeah, it is hard, and I'm not trying to excuse my poor play because I did punt last round, but I just want to put it in context that like I encourage you to try this at home. China Rapov. Let's see what they're on. Likely. All right, they are likely on Zenith, but this is from last year. If they're still on Zenith, which they seem dedicated to Zenith, I think, sadly, we're going to be playing against my least favorite card, Nadu. This is a good hand against that deck. They're not playing Wasteland, so I don't think I need to worry about my oops, I clicked the wrong thing. Let's take a look at the composition of these decks. Like I'm just going to assume they're on like an optimized current Nadu list that doesn't play Wasteland. This did play Wasteland. I do have a backup land in case. Okay, come on, Mac. All right. Yeah, I've got a backup land. So I think what I do is I open Tamiyo. And then if they waste for some reason, we do have Lorien revealed as like kind of a panic, like, uh-oh, we're in like a tempo mirror. But the upside of playing Tamiyo immediately is really good. Like it's a really good turn 1 play because it just immediately starts accruing value and it draws removal. If my opponent has removal, there's a good chance they're going to fire it at Tamiyo, and then I'm going to get a chance to resolve a Psychic Frog. Okay. Flooded Strand Opener. Give me the Daze. I want the Stifle. Okay, we didn't get a Stifle. I think it's correct to go ahead and play a land and attack. I'll just play a Swamp. We're going to get the token. We'll see what they do. There's not a way that we can flip her this turn. There is definitely a chance that they could have a Daze. I think it's worth the potential upside of like Bowmastering one of their Brainstorms to chill here. Okay, so they're going to fetch. Probably going to get a Surveil in, and we'll see what their other colors are. Yeah, I think they're on Nadu most likely. I mean, I would totally respect and actually really appreciate if they're not playing Nadu, but I think Nadu is the best Zenith package right now. One of the reasons I'm hoping, and I guess I'm the only person who feels this way, that Nadu is not long for this format. One of the reasons I'm hoping that's the case is because it's pretty unfun to play against, whereas like the old Zenith decks were much more interactive and fun, and they weren't just trying to like assemble Planar Genesis. Look at the top 4 cards of your library, put a land from among them onto the battlefield tapped. If you don't, okay, yeah, that resolves. So this wouldn't have been a draw trigger anyway. It wouldn't have been a draw effect for Bowmasters. I am going to try to wait around. They haven't shown me any white mana. Oh, wow. Did they not find a land? Or maybe they just didn't take a land. But like, I feel like you take a land there because it's ramp. Yeah, what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to open. I'm not going to reveal that we're going to have the ability. Well, it doesn't really matter because they don't have white removal up. Okay, so I think Wasteland is the play here. And my reasoning is that they didn't take a land there. We're getting, yeah. All right, we may be able to just cheese a win here. Granted, we don't have that much going on our side of the table, but we do have plenty of lands and plenty of clues, and we can just take our time. I mean, we might even be able to Lorien reveal if the game goes long enough. Wow, okay. So they're doing something unfair here. Oh, I didn't even notice this Atraxa in the graveyard. When did this Atraxa get there? Oh, they surveilled it. I'm just not perceptive. There's no... Okay, so we're against a show and tell deck, and they could win next turn if we're not careful. So I think the play is probably, if they show and tell, we don't really have any recourse. I'm just going to attack with Tamiyo. I can flip her. I think that might actually be fine because I want to draw a card. If I can... I'm going to ponder, and if I can find a Wasteland, then I'll play it. But otherwise, I'm going to flip Tamiyo. These are all good cards, aside from the Tamiyo, which is not really necessary here. I feel like we shuffle this just because we want to find a force. No, force doesn't really do it, but I still think it's okay to shuffle this. And that might seem crazy, but yeah, it's not a very good rip. I think I'm going to go ahead and flip Tamiyo, and I'm going to hope that they're not going to find a land next turn. If they find a land, then that's pretty bad. All right, another look for force. No force. And again, force doesn't really matter because they're definitely going to pay the life if they find a... But the fact that they bin this tells me that they already have a threat and they're just looking for land. So any land, and I think they're likely... Yeah, I think this is show and tell here. So we are going to put Orcish Bowmasters in as our card. And I doubt this is going to do much to disrupt them because they can just like draw a bunch of cards. Yeah, I really think that if I'd noticed that Atraxa going in there, maybe I would have played slightly differently. This is fine. I mean, we can see more of their deck, but they've definitely won here. All right. These kinds of decks are really rough matchup too, by the way, because they just overload our removal with like threats. I do think we might bring in... well, Stifle is okay in the sense they can stop the trigger, but it doesn't really matter because we don't have a good way of getting those out of play. I haven't seen any reason to have Fatal Push in the deck, so we're definitely bringing in... I think probably Consign to Memory is fine. They're just going to... They don't draw a card off of it. Another Omniscience. Okay. Yeah, I didn't even look at what they put in their hand. It doesn't really matter. I'm just going to see if they give us any more information about their deck here. Like if we, yeah, draw 5 cards. Okay, that's, yeah, I'll do some damage here to them. I don't think it matters. Not sure why it's not letting me choose now. Oh, because they have Veil. Okay, well, the Orc army itself is going to take the brunt of these. All right, another Planar Genesis. They can look at 4 cards. Have we seen enough? I mean, like the game is over. I'm just wondering if we're going to learn anything more about waiting. Another Atraxa. Legend rolling the Atraxa. We get to see more of their deck. They're not going to time out though. They're being very fast. One Ring. Okay, I think I'm going to concede here, and let's go ahead and go to game 2. So cards to keep in mind, the fact that they have 4 main deck Veils, it looks like. They also, they seem to be like pure Omnitell. I don't see any red. So we may actually be able to stop them if we can stop the main card. I don't think Harbinger is good for this match. We saw plenty of islands, but I do think Consign of Memory is good. And I do think Orcish Bowmasters is good. They do have green, so they could bring in Carpet. Don't think that that's the fight. Counterbalance, they have such varied costs among their spells that I don't think Carpet's right. So let's talk about what we're taking out. We're taking out all the Fatal Pushes. That much is, I think, I can be very confident that that's the correct play. I mean, technically, Brazen Borrower can put stuff like Omniscience back in their hand. It is a blue card that pitches a force. I think Nethergoyf might actually be really important here in terms of closing the game before they can win. I'm not taking out any Stifles because Stifle is potentially like anti-attracts attack. Yeah, I didn't see any removal on their entire deck, which makes me think that Nethergoyf is going to be good. Tamiyo was unimpressive there. She did draw a few cards. She pitches the force. Psychic Frog would be good here. Psychic Frog could help race. I do feel like we play Consign of Memory. It stops triggers. It stops One Ring. We just need as much counter magic as possible. So really, like, it's a question of like, okay, do we cut Nethergoyf? In my mind, that's like the other cuttable card. And if we're going to cut Nethergoyf, do we want to go one step further and bring in Harbinger just in case? Harbinger probably cuts them off green, and it may stop like Boseiju type shenanigans. I think I talked myself into it. And then just the last cut, they're not going to be going after our mana. I think we could cut Lorien Revealed. Yeah, I think this is the deck I'm going to present. It's been a while since I played against Omnitell. Losing game 1, I think that almost always happens, I would imagine. So it's really going to come down to like, I mean, I'm trying to say something that's like interesting and not just trite. Like, it's going to come down to the final 2 games. This is a keep. We've got Psychic Frog. We do have Daze, which will be relevant. We have Wasteland. I'm going to keep this, and I'm going to open Tamiyo, and then next turn, I'm going to play out Psychic Frog. I think it's extremely unlikely that they play like any sort of Blood Moon type effect. I didn't see any red in their entire deck. I could have been wrong, but it looked like everything was, it's just straight blue-green. And blue-green notably does not have any removal. They have actually stuck to the color pie for once and not giving green any good removal spells, and blue just has some bounce spells. I would say that the most flagrant violation of the color pie is that black card that can kill creatures or enchantments. I'm sorry, but black should not be able to interact with enchantments or artifacts. That's just the color pie. Feed the Swarm. Yeah, like I took personal offense when they printed that card. All right. I think we go ahead and just presume that they're not going to mess with our mana, and we play our Tamiyo out. We can also play out Bobble, and we can Bobble during their upkeep, so we'll get a Tamiyo look, and that gives us the ability to create a clue and crack a clue. Okay. This is so explosive. I'm genuinely worried here. That's fine. Hopefully this is non-basic. Yeah. So, that's such a crushing card here because they get lots of mana. We can get a basic swamp next turn, and that I think that's what we have to do. I'll get a basic swamp here. There's no point in dazing that. I'm going to save my daze. I mean, there is technically a point in dazing it, which is like making them use their pedal, but I don't think that's a good use of daze. That's fine. Yeah, and we knew Carpet could come in, but did I bring in the engineered explosives for that? I should have. I did not. Interesting and dumb. Yeah, I think that was a punt, kind of. It's not necessarily like a game-ending punt, but we're going to have to play on low resources here. Let's go ahead and look at their top show and tell. Okay, so we know that next turn they're going to have 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we're going to have to waste here. because they could easily have another land. I think what I do is I'm going to draw a card. I'm going to waste here. It may seem totally ineffectual, but we need to deny them every mana we can. And then I'm going to go to combat, create a clue. We can't flip her because we wasted, but I do think wasting was correct. I'll play this out. Just in case they play Daze, which I don't think they do. I'm not going to do anything here. I'm just going to wait. If they decline to use it and then they try to do something first, then we have the potential to actually bounce this back to hand. But we will never play another island for the rest of the game. I don't think we can win just on black, especially since I think we're always going to have an island. So this is always going to be worth 1 mana, but we can't let it be worth more than that. Okay, here comes the land. If it's a city of like an ancient tomb or something, that's really bad for us. They may just chill. Yep. All right, so they're adding mana here, and I'm just going to hope they go for it and play into Daze. If they don't, I'm going to hit them now because I would like to flip Tamiyo next turn. Omniscience, wow. The hits just keep coming. All right, so they have, at the very least, Show and Tell Omniscience. Terrifying. Okay, so we get our card. Orcish Bowmasters. I think it's probably better to flip Tamiyo than to Orcish Bowmasters here. The other alternative, of course, is we play out Psychic Frog. Bowmasters is potentially better. So what if they Show and Tell, we can put Bowmasters into play. We can potentially regrow Daze. Okay, so here's what I know. Okay, so I get another card. Okay, so one option is just to brainstorm here so we don't have to crack the clue. So I'm going to go to attack, and then I'll go ahead and take the clue. And then I think I can brainstorm and maybe find a force as well. Because if we can find a force in addition to just the Daze, that'll be even better. I think that goes without saying. I'm going to play this out. I could brainstorm now or I could wait. There's no reason to do it now. Well, yeah, there is a reason because I want to use Tamiyo. Okay, wow. Wow, this is great. So we don't need this. We probably don't need a second Bowmasters. Like, it will speed up the clock, but what we really want is... I mean, we could consign if absolutely necessary. I think most likely we're going to push. Okay, let's do that. She flips. I'm going to wait, but I do need to be sure to fetch before the end of their turn. Okay. So we definitely have a game plan here. They are probably going to use the ability. I mean, we know they're not drawing a land. And I think the reason they're not doing it is because they don't want to play into Daze, which is smart. Okay, they're probably not going to add it here either. Okay, wow. All right. So I'm going to go get my swamp here, and this will be the last land that we can play for the entire game, basically, unless we find a wasteland, which, yeah, I mean, if we find a wasteland, we'll definitely use that. Okay, we're drawing a second Daze. That pitches the force, or we can use it over 2 turns. I'm going to plus here. I think Psychic Frog is actually better than Bowmasters because we have plenty of blue cards to pitch. Yeah, I'm going to Psychic Frog. The upside of Psychic Frog is we can kill them much faster. Like, we can ultimate and then we can kill them. If they don't do anything to interact with our Tamiyo, we'll be in a very strong position. Lorien revealed. I can't stop that. So they are going to have mana. So our Dazes are not going to work. We're just going to have Force Negation here now. If they make a mistake somehow and we can Daze back to our hand, then we can deprive them of mana, but I think they're going to use their mana here. But if they're going to try to use Petal mana, we can stop that. So I think the correct play here is Force Negation. We exile Consign, because we're just never going to have mana up for it. And then when they go for the Veil, we Daze that. All right. Do they have a force? I will regrow my Force of Negation next turn with Tamiyo instead of ultimating. I think that's correct to do. Wow, we survived. I can't believe we're still alive. I mean, do we even play out mana? Huh. Okay, so I think the first order of business is attacking, seeing what we get. If we get a Wasteland, then I can potentially deploy Orcish Bowmasters without giving them mana. I don't want to discard the Underground Siege just in case I do decide to use it. Even though I feel... Oh, we actually ripped a second Force Negation. That's super lucky. I think we do need to play out Daze just so we... play out a land so we do have something to pitch it. So we have something to bounce Daze with. Oh my goodness, this is so incredibly lucky. So we can deny the mana. I am going to go up here. I think it'd be a mistake to play out a land. But we only have... Okay, so I think I am going to play out a land, and here's my reasoning. It gives us Daze, and it also gives us the ability to Bowmaster, and it also gives us the ability to crack a clue if we desperately need to get a second force effect. So that might be loose, but I feel like we have so much in hand that we kind of have it covered. Let's see if they use this. So they got green mana. Okay. Uro is fine. Actually, I think I want to punish Uro because now I know that they're not going to do anything this turn. This will speed up the clock a little bit. I mean, we're going to ultimate next turn. It doesn't even really matter. Maybe that was a bad play. Okay. Oh, no. They had Ancient Tomb. So they may be able to... Oh, okay, good. They conceded. They just wanted to see what they were going to get. I was going to draw 8 cards, and then I was going to attack them for... I was going to draw 21 cards, actually. So that would have been that. Okay, wow. You can't be too careful. Okay, so Engineered Explosives definitely coming in. I think it was correct to not board in the Nethergoyfs there. I like how I boarded. I don't think Counterbalance is correct here because they've got a lot of 3-drops. I think what we do is we probably take out one of our... I think we take out Harbinger. It seemed like the weakest card. We do have Wastelands to go after their Boseiju if they play it out. Yeah, I didn't see anything else that we need to do differently. I'm going to do it like that. I just need to get lucky and draw tons of forces like I did last game. My goodness. I feel great like having all those different angles covered. Well, the one downside is we did show them Bowmaster. Well, I guess we showed them Bowmasters the game prior. This is a snap keep. So if they play Carpet Out, you know I'm going to be blowing that up. Right. This is such a great hand. So I think we Tamiyo, we attack, we brainstorm to flip Tamiyo, we deploy Engineered Explosives. This, unfortunately, is going to have to get another blue source. But hopefully they won't get too much mana off it before we can blow it up with Engineered Explosives. I can't imagine a world where playing Tamiyo out is wrong, but it could be because, you know, it is like a double force hand. We'll see what we draw. Pedal. All right. Best draw in the deck is probably another blue card. I don't know. Yeah, wow. That's, yeah, I will take that. I should have probably fetched, but I like the ability to fetch with Brainstorm up. I don't think they have any creature removal at all. I think they're like a totally dedicated combo deck. This might be Carpet. So if we force Carpet, I think forcing Carpet is a mistake. We give them the mana, and we Engineer Explosives, destroy every non-land permanent. Oh no. Tamiyo. No. All right. So, yeah, now I feel dumb playing Tamiyo out. They're brainstorming, which is fine. They're getting to look at a lot of cards. Best draw on our deck is probably Wasteland, even though they have the Carpet out. Because what we could do is Wasteland, and then we could drop the explosives. I don't think we can safely play out a land now. What we'll do is we'll just play out explosives for 1. We do have to get rid of that Carpet, just based on like the way our mana base is shaking out. All right, so options. We brainstorm. We see if we can find a swamp, a card that can fetch swamp. I think that's okay. We can plus Tamiyo, and then we can potentially force something next turn, and then we can potentially regrow a force. That's a strong play. I do think we go ahead and brainstorm here just based on the nature of our hand. And we really hope to hit a fetch that can get black. We did it. All right, this is going back. I don't think we need this. It's a colorless card that doesn't do anything. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Okay, please don't crash now, MTGO. I really want to win this game. We've got 11 minutes, but I'm going to be playing so carefully. MTGO, please don't make me like do stuff. Okay, good. It worked. All right. So, Tamiyo is taking eternity to flip. Okay, we have priority back. Let's plus her. I'm going to play this out. Play this out. I don't think it hurts to go ahead and deploy the engineered explosives. That way we can potentially blow up the world next turn. Because I am going to want to get that carpet off the table. It's worth, you know, I can just minus Tamiyo and then blow up the world, and I got a card back. I'd love for them to like force here, because it's like mana that I don't want to spend. I don't want to spend next turn just blowing up engineered explosives, but I will if I have to. All right, let's pass. All right, they're taking a long time to think about what they want to do, but they have let us go to. I mean, this is what it all comes down to. Is Be Excellent going to have to pay $10 to play the next league, or is Be Excellent going to have the play points and a chesty? We shall see. This is the game that's going to decide it. I feel like we've got a really good hand. Adding green, Growth Spiral, Planar Genesis, that's okay. I don't mind that. I may not even blow up this engineered explosives immediately, just because, I mean, Tamiyo represents inevitability in a way that we don't otherwise have. We have nothing going on. Our hand's completely reactive. I wouldn't fault someone for thinking that I should have just forced the carpet. But as it is, it's basically like a mana rock. It's like a Mox. Like a Mox Opal out there. Or a Mox Diamond, I guess, would be more appropriate because you don't have to have a Metalcraft. Right. But I don't think that they have... I'll be amazed if they have anything in their deck. And they didn't seem to find a land. Let's see. What did they do with the Planar Genesis? Did they find anything? Am I missing something? Planar Genesis. Okay. And they just put a card in their hand? All right. Straw. That's a land. So if we get back the Brainstorm and then we blow this up, I think it does screw their mana pretty badly. But they could have another one. If they have another one, I guess I force the other one. The alternative, of course, is we just keep ticking up. I think we're safe to just keep it ticking up. With everything we have in hand, we can play out a Bowmasters or we can draw. We've got plenty of options. They're just getting one mana from this. And we can always minus Tamiyo to regrow a force if we need to next turn. What's going to change between now and then? They're basically getting one card a turn, but we just have so much reach with this Bowmasters. Okay, green mana. Okay, they have tons of mana now. We have to force this. I think Daze is the pitch. I'm going to negate and pitch Daze, just in case they try to do something on my turn. I'll be so sad if they just have lots of veils. That's how these decks win. They just like have tons of veils and you can't do anything. Like they're 1-for-2ing you or 2-for-1ing you with their... All right, now they probably will be too scared. They're still going for it. They thought I was messing around. Well, they may have another one. It's certainly possible. I think it makes more sense to go ahead and draw a card just in case I draw a blue card here so I don't have to pitch another force. It's not a blue card. Okay. I'm going to just force. And hopefully they don't have another veil. If they have another veil, we have lost, almost certainly. They had lots of time to assemble veils. Wow. Okay, so they are a turn away from being able to, because they need 2 islands to get another one back, but they could very much have one in hand. Okay, so here's what I think the play is. Because they have so much mana and they only have 3 cards, we could regrow the Force of Negation. If we regrow the Force of Negation, we basically have to hold it up, and then if they do something, because we're giving them a mana if we do that. And we're also just lengthening the amount of time before we can ultimate, but I'm worried. I'm genuinely worried that they can just go for it and they can win here. So, our options. 1, we wait a turn and then we can ultimate, and they may win. We have 0 coverage. Option 2, we play out the Underground Sea. We minus so we can get the Force of Negation, and we assume that they're not going to draw both a Show and Tell and a Wing Con, but then we just have to hold it up forever. And yes, we can keep ratcheting up our Tamiyo. I feel like getting the Force Negation is playing to not lose, but the play to win strategy is to go ahead and plus here and to just hold our mana so we can restrict, because they may have like a 4th Aerolingus or something in their hand. Not 4th, yeah, I'm going to do this. We'll see if it pays off. I genuinely do not know what's going to happen here. Obviously, I don't know because it hasn't happened yet, but like, I don't know what the odds of them being able to find something. They're adding mana. If they just have a second Show and Tell, that could be catastrophic. Green mana. Like if they play like the Planar Genesis or something, that could find a Show and Tell. That could find like another, what are they doing here? Uro. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and pop this out here now. We don't have, I mean, we need to get the clock going. I guess it's not that big of a deal because we're about to draw half our deck, but yeah, I do think it was correct to go ahead and Bowmasters here. And we can be pretty confident they don't have Veil, but they could just drop a land and then Show and Tell here. If they found the missing Show and Tell, the card they were missing. They have enough mana. Another Petal. They're passing. Holy cow, we're about to draw our deck. Do they have a Stifle? I'm going to start by doing this now. I think it's worth playing the land out just in case we absolutely need it. I'm not as worried about giving them mana. I'm worried about having a fight on the stack here. Okay, so let's take a look at our hand. We have 2 force effects. We have 2 of these. We have Brazen Borrower to bounce stuff back to their hand. Did we draw a Psychic Frog? We boarded out, I think, 2 of our Psychic Frog, but we should still have a Psychic Frog. Okay, I think what we do here is we just pass with lots of interaction up, and we instep Bowmasters, and we just keep attacking them. Alternatively, so we already played out our land, but alternatively we could pop the Deed just to get rid of this carpet. I think that's probably fine. That does reduce their mana a little bit. Yeah. I mean, they have a lot of mana, but they're going to need a lot of mana to get through everything I'm throwing their way. It's worth noting we do have Stifle as well. The other alternative there was, of course, just play out another Bowmasters. So I'm just going to keep looking at my giant hand here. So I could like drag things around to arrange them. So they're taking 2 here to do something with Tomb. I should have played these out. I didn't even see these. That was bad. I could have drawn through them. We're not going to deck ourselves. They're island cycling. That's fine. That means that the explosion was relevant. They could have cast this turn if we hadn't gotten rid of the carpet. Okay, another island. Okay, a lot of mana. Do we not have any Dazes in hand? We don't have any Dazes. I think this is fine because we can just bounce it next turn. I don't want to waste a... Yeah, it grows our army. I'm not going to force it. I'm just going to play super duper careful here. Next turn we can start wasting them too. So we can waste, we can bounce, we can attack for 4. I'll waste their green for sure. That's definitely the thing that I'm planning to do next turn. Okay, so they have an Uro. All right, so I think the first order of business is we go ahead and we waste. Now I'm just going to bounce Uro. Okay, now I'm going to attack with all my creatures. I'm saying everything out loud very carefully because I do not want to screw up. I feel like we're in like a 99% win likelihood position, and I just do not want to screw this up somehow and let them go off. Okay, we'll play this out. I just want to draw through all this stuff. Are there any other baubles? There are. I'm going to play that out. I don't think it's necessary to play out another Tamiyo. I'm just going to hold her for forces. Okay, that's fine. I just want to draw the cards. Doesn't even matter. I'll see what I'm going to draw in a second. And I'm going to keep the rest of my mana up just in case I need to do some sort of effect. But basically, every turn I'm going to be wasting them and I'm going to be attacking them, and it'll just take 3 or 4 turns to kill them. That's a totally safe way of doing this. If they stick Boseiju comes into play tapped, and I can waste it. I still have 2 more wastes. Okay, that's fine. I will waste that land this turn. What do we draw? We drew another force. I'm going to try to organize this a little bit. Uro again is fine. They don't have a way to return Uro into play. So I'll just ping them. And we got 4 minutes on the clock, which is plenty of time to finish this. Okay. Let's play this out. I'll look at their top card just for a little bit more information. They've got another Planar Genesis. That's fine. I'll play this out. I'm going to waste them again. Off green, so they shouldn't be able to cast that Planar Genesis unless they have another green source. I'm going to go ahead and go to attacks. Before we actually do damage, I am going to go ahead and play out another Bowmasters just to increase the clock slightly. It may matter. All right, and I'm just going to pass, and next turn I should be able to win. I've got lots of cards up. I've got Triple Force to their 5 cards. I've got Stifle. All right. There's another Bowmasters. If they somehow kill my Bowmasters, I still got a win con. We won! We just played super carefully against the deck that is designed to basically farm control decks and tempo decks. I mean, that's what this deck is all about. Like, it's not as much about stopping control decks and tempo decks as, say, Sneak and Show is, which does overload you even more because they've got like 8 spells they're trying to cast. But if you think about it, like, think about how much counter magic you have to be able to stop them successfully Omnitelling you. Like, I don't think this is a favorable matchup. I could be wrong. I could be dead wrong. We could actually check the MTG Matrix. I don't know if you've ever seen this. Let's take a gander. MTG Matrix Legacy. MTG Matchup Matrix. So that was a... did they discontinue it? MTG Meta. There it is. That's what it's called. I don't... like, their SEO must be really bad. Okay. I'll just go to MTG. Maybe they don't call it a Matrix, but that's what it is. Like, how can MTG Goldfish rank over MTG Meta itself when you're searching MTG Meta? Google is so terrible these days. Like the search is really getting bad. Okay. So, this is cool because you can see like what the top decks are, and you can see what we're playing basically. This with the Nethergoyfs or Nethergoyf. That's weird. But like if we actually look at the matrix, it should be down here somewhere. They should show what the matchups are. Okay. Where do we see the matchups? That was like the entire appeal of this website was the matchups. Okay. I'm not sure if they removed that feature. I mean, that was the whole reason I used the website. But you used to be able to go here and you could see like what all the different matchups are between legacy decks, and it would show you like this big grid. But unfortunately, they don't seem to be showing that. Actually, maybe if we dig into this, we can see, because like what I'm playing is basically exactly this. And I just want to see the matchup. Okay, it doesn't look like they show the matchup anymore. But there are some other projects like the MTG data collection project. which does have detailed matchup data. So we could check. Sorry for all the rambling, but we could definitely check and see. But I feel this deck is great. I didn't really miss having bigger removal because all the situations where I really needed bigger removal, like Murderous Cut, like Go for the Throat, stuff like that, like in all those situations, we were already kind of dead. There was that Delver game where they had the big Murktide, and my only out was Brazen Borrower, but it wasn't that big of a deal. Like I know this sounds crazy, and this is not what people do, but this is absolutely what I'm thinking. I'm almost feeling like we should just have our third Brazen Borrower in here because Borrower was great. It deals with pretty much everything. You know, if we get paired against like token type decks or anything, it kills those. And it does come down and is a relevant game piece later in the games. We never got to a situation. Actually, I think we did hardcast once and it got like countered or something. I can't remember. But I mean, it is removal essentially. Like it buys you enough time to close the game because this game is not about permanently clearing up, you know, opposing creatures like Jeskai control. This deck is all about just temporarily stopping. And then we could move the Orcish Bowmasters to the side. And I mean, this didn't ever come in. It didn't feel like it was necessary. I can't think of a matchup other than maybe Delver where it's particularly strong. And it just, we don't have DRC. I feel like the only deck that it makes sense to play Counterbalance in is probably a DRC deck just because you have so much more deck manipulation than you have when you're merely playing Mishra's Baubles. I feel like these Mishra Baubles, like Counterbalance is kind of cute. But that way we have our 4 Bowmasters on the side where they belong, frankly. Like they're just, it's not a main deckable card right now, in my opinion. Maybe if you're playing like mono black aggro, it's main deckable. But I genuinely don't think that it's necessary. We're not drawing a lot of cards ourselves. I mean, we kind of are, but like, you know, we can potentially win through a Bowmasters even if we don't immediately have a way to remove it, right? And with Nethergoyf, we're usually the aggressor, assuming we're on the play. Like you almost never want to fall back into a control route. Like if you've taken a look at some of my sideboard guides in the past, I had a sideboard guide for Beans. I probably need to update it, but I just haven't figured out which deck I want to play, which deck I want to main. I like the non-Beanstalk bug deck, so I might main that, but I don't want to main this because this is what everybody does. I just can't stand playing the deck that everybody else is playing. I have to play some kind of underdog deck, some kind of brew, even if the brew is only just like swapping out 8 of the 75 cards or something like that, right? That's just who I am. Like I can't just like, I would never just be able to play Grixis Tempo, which is probably the most solved deck. I guess Rescan was technically like totally solved before they banned it. But yeah, this was super fun. I love Nethergoyf. Nethergoyf is a monster truck just plowing through, just rolling over all those old used cars and smashing them to bits. And of course, Tamiyo was insane. We ultimated, we threatened to ultimate and prompted concessions. She is insane. Psychic Frog did his job. He drew quite a few cards. I think we even piled in a whole bunch of cards on him. I don't think we won that game, but making just a giant Psychic Frog, usually you don't want to do that against a deck that has removal, but against like Moonstompy or something, that's definitely a winning strategy. And I'm serious, like Brazen Borrower number 3, like it does a lot. Like I think there was a game where we just flashed it in to finish off the Death and Taxes player, and that's like a legit, I mean, this is a 3 power flying creature that has flash. That is not a bad kind of like floor for it to clear. There's a reason this is historically over the past 2 or 3 years since it was printed been like one of the most played, if not the most played creature in Legacy. So I know conventional wisdom is you only need 2, but like I actually own 3 because I've played 3 in decks before, and I think it is that good. But yeah, I mean, I could see like if there's another creature printed that is good enough. I do feel like the deck needs 15 creatures though. I think 14 is just too thin. It's just slightly too thin. And if you pull up MTG top 8, let's take a look here, and you just go to Dimir Tempo, and you compare decks. This is a really convenient way to like just see like recently, and we could kind of cut it off but traditionally like approximately 18 to 19 land. And if you're playing 4 Dazes, I'll tell you, you don't want to be playing those extra land. I think Lorien was quite good. We actually did cast Lorien Revealed one game, right? It's not a bad card. And the fact that it counts as a sorcery, the fact that it pitches to force, the fact that it finds a basic island off of like a wasteland if you're in a pinch, super reasonable for our 19th land. But here, the creature count, I think the lowest any of these people, well, this person goes all the way down to 12, but Japanese players are extremely experimental. They are doing just the best creatures, right? Like they're not messing around with, oh, this is an interesting list. I mean, it was 24 people. It was in Osaka, which is not as competitive as Tokyo in my understanding. So, yeah, and they came in third. But I mean, that shows you like if you are truly dedicated. I'm amazed they're not playing 4 Dazes if they're going that low. Because if you look, let's get in the Wayback Machine here. Let's go all 12 decks. All right, check this out. Canadian Threshold, number 1 deck. 15% of the meta. Okay, let's take a look at these decks. So we can see that like they were playing 18 lands. They were playing 12 creatures, which is super low. But, maybe people weren't playing as much removal. Let's take a look at the meta. The meta was Canadian Threshold, and then a whole bunch of, Stoneblade, very good deck back in the day, and blue-white control. So, I mean, there was a lot of removal in the format, and then there was, like, combo. These decks probably not playing any removal. Dredge, Reanimator. Yeah. So, I'm not sure how they got away with such a low count because they're not even playing, like, Bobble. They're actually playing, like let's look at one of these decks. Okay, this Alexis Ong, 266 players. They got 6th with this. So let's take a look. 18 lands, very similar to today's list, but no basics because it's a 3-color deck because they had to have Tarmogoyf and Nimble Mongoose and Delver. This was after Delver was printed, but before Delver was printed, you'd play. I'm not even sure what you'd play, but Delver was a very important printing that happened in like 2010, 2011. Okay, so they're playing 3 days. They're playing Fire Ice, Force of Will, Forked Bolt, which is good because there are a lot of Elves decks and stuff like that. And like not everything had a 2 toughness like it does today. 4 Lightning Bolt, 4 Ponder, 4 Spell Pierce, 4 Stifle. The reason they're playing 4 Spell Pierce is Tarmogoyf had just been printed like a few years before. And this was like the premier threat in Legacy. And then a single Sylvan Library. So very like, spell based. I mean, if you look 29 instants and sorceries, and only 1 non-creature permanent. So like their deck is almost all just spells. And we can look at the sideboard, and Submerge was really powerful then because everybody was playing, Nimble, Tarmogoyf, not Nimble Mongoose. You can't submerge a Nimble Mongoose. Sulfuric Vortex was kind of like a cool card back in the day. Anyway, I won't go to memory lane because I used to play this on a precursor to Cockatrice. I would play Lackey. Before that, I played Magic Workstation. It just took me, I'm not exaggerating when I say it took me 2 decades to finally migrate over to MTGO because everybody I talked to who played MTGO was like, oh, it sucks. The software is like terrible. It constantly crashes. You have to restart it. And of course, you have to buy the cards, right? Like if you use Cockatrice, you just get whatever card you want. Right now, I'm actually talking with Eureka 22422. A shout out to that gentleman, like great player who's doing some amazing stuff with Doomsday and kind of a tempo Doomsday hybrid. But I'm actually like DMing with him on Discord, like, hey, can I borrow your Barrow Ghost? Because I'd like to play your deck, but I don't want to pay like $160 for cards that are basically, like these cards. It's not like there's a reserve list on MTGO. Like the cards almost always go down in value over time. So, it's very hard to like buy into the platform and feel like that's the right thing to do. But, the other thing that people always tell me is all the best people play on MTGO. Don't mess around with randos on Cockatrice. It's just not like you're not really getting practice. It's like just wandering into an FNM and playing people and thinking like you're getting better when in fact you may just be going up against players who are not as skilled. Like if you want to really advance your game, the thinking is you want to play against the best players. And where are the best players? The best players, even more so than at big tournaments like Eternal Weekend and stuff. A lot of the best players are at the Legacy challenges and the Legacy showcases. So anyway, I hope that's been insightful. I love this deck. I'm definitely going to play it more, get some more practice playing pure tempo. Until next time, be excellent to each other and party on, dudes.